Hi everyone and welcome to this next video. As we discussed at the end of the last video, we decided we're first going to explore our bounded context and try to design the bounded contexts until the end. In Miro, we created another frame to make everything clear. And so as you can see, we've got lots of things at the beginning already, but the end is not designed yet. We also, this was where we ended up with, where we're going to propose the start of a new ride. But as we discussed, Hien, this is something that we need to explore later on. Explore later. So we're now going to look at unlocking a bike. And I see that you brought everything closer. So what is actually going on now?
Okay, so after unlock of bike X, I'm going to see here because I don't think there'll be anything to prevent this. And the next thing is that the rider actually picked up the bike.
I do see maybe one thing here is that there might be technical reasons why it fails here, like maybe the lock is just broken. I'm not saying we need to explore that, but maybe we can signal that with like lock must be working. So that means we at least know that we need to at some point, handle what happens if the unlocking fails.
Yeah, exactly. So I also copied over the station unlock bike X to sort of, have a bit of similarity and how we did it in the previous sort of iteration of unlocking the bike. And then the rider actually, picks up the bike, which is something we probably, may or may not register.
So I'm going to do, so I think, well, that I want to signal here that this is something that happens sometime later. Like, hey, it's not something that happens because of a command. The rider just picks it up, and I think we can make the assumption now that the station is able to detect that. The station is able to detect when a bike is removed from a slot at the station. So that's something we can pick up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I was wondering, should we also put that, because I'm saying that's something the station can pick up. Should we also put a boundary like that then? Is it?
Yeah.
No,
I'm thinking.
okay.
I don't know if there really is. Could be with pressure, like could be that the station can register, could be that it doesn't. We kind of need to understand how the station actually works.
Well, so let's make the assumption here that when a bike leaves the station, that the station, so every bike is parked within one slot. That slot is locked or unlocked. When it's the station know that it's unlocked, and the station also know when a bike leaves that slot, and the station also knows when a bike enters that slot. But the important part here, and that's why I think it's useful to put that here, is that it's the physical station, the hardware and the software that runs on the station. It's not, at this point in time, it's not our backend yet that knows this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's next?
So the next is again one of those failures. So I was wondering if we should go deeper into it. So basically, what we had is, the rider picks up the bike, and then the rider actually notices that there's something wrong with the bike after it has been unlocked. And so then what happens is that the rider needs to pick a different bike with reason, right? So they actually, need a different bike. And the other sort of flow that we have is that, they unlocked and then, they cancel the ride straight away for something. But I think maybe we can also do that later together with exploring the other failure scenarios,
Yeah.
if
That,
that's okay with you.
that's definitely okay. I'm going to try to find an emoji like, hey, this is something we need to explore later instead of the sticky.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea for, or maybe a sticker review? That might be good enough.
Yeah.
And I'll also put it here because that's something we haven't done yet. So we can use that one to show, hey, this is definitely
Yeah.
something we need to look back at later.
Yes.
Okay.
So then, if everything goes well, we're not longer thinking about failures. The rider just starts the ride, and time happens, which we're unaware of exactly what happens. Something can go wrong. This is also some failure scenarios we need to review later when we look into accident reporting and stuff like that. So then the next thing you have is basically at the station again, where the bike sort of gets returned. And my Miro is acting up. Okay. No, it's okay. So the bike is returned to station, which is also something that the rider actually does. I'm gonna show that. So then still inside the station, the physical station, we'll have to try and lock the bike again. This could fail for technical reasons. When that happens, we'll have to notify something. But if everything goes well, then station just locks the bike, and the station will have to send out a command to the system that it needs to stop the ride, right? Because at this point, your bike is locked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, yeah.
Yeah. Where do we send that?
Yeah. I was getting the getting the right icon sent back. So the station will send this to the ride. Sort of how I see this happen. It will say, okay, you need to stop the ride now. Similar as it said, start ride, and then always ride was stopped.
Okay.
Inside the ride. And then that's sort of where it will change for me, because as you see, the language is now different again, because now we're starting to talk about prices. So the ride was stopped is sort of where it ends for the ride, I think. And we'll calculate the price. Do we have some? We had no, we have rate calculation. But that's something different. No, I don't think we have anything to.
Oh no, we had rate calculation, or we do have bundles here. Eh? I know bundles. That's not price calculation. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not. I'll pick a different color, something like that, and this is going to be called something like price calculation. So I think most logically it will be the ride that says ride was stopped. Because there might be other things that need to respond to a ride being stopped. And price. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I think this is maybe an interesting topic to go into a little bit deeper. Like, why? Which one do we pick, and why do we pick it? Like, I'm not saying we need to make a definite choice already, but So we have this option. We have the option like this, and we might even have a different option where there is something in between these two. I'm not going to draw it out completely, but we might have something that does the coordination between these things. So how do we pick something here, and why do we pick it?
Yeah, so a few questions that I ask there is, so the first one I already sort of mentioned when I was drawing sorry, when I was drawing the boundaries, is that, like, do other bounded contexts, like, will other things depend on the fact that the ride is stopped, is one of the things I take into consideration. If it is, then you have to send out this event to the other bounded context. The second thing I look at is to see if it makes sense. What makes more sense? Does it make more sense that the price calculation knows that the ride was stopped, or does it make more sense that the ride sort of tells this price calculation, okay, calculate price now? And in order to see that, I also sort of want to know what the ride already does. Because, like, if we go back, um, you can see that the ride sends out a lot of commands already. So it already started acting like an orchestration.
Yeah.
So then my preference would go to the orchestration, because it sort of already, does that. It seems that that is going to be the reason that this ride exists, is to make sure that all the other bounded contexts actually know when to act. So then I would say ride will tell price calculation, calculate price, because that is how we have used ride
So far.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we change it then, and we say this is our choice for now. Um, I
Yeah.
I would also like say in general, we've made the design choice, but it's temporarily. Yeah? We can still
Yeah.
change it. We know why we changed it so far, and we do it based on past decisions. While those past decisions, we never explicitly mentioned them, I think. So it might not be a good choice. So I'll also add like the review thing here,
Yeah.
and it's basically review the design choice that we made here. Of course, we're going to need to do that for lots of places, but maybe at some point in time, then if we're at the end, we can make a context map to see
Yeah.
how the interactions are really, how they really, what kind of communication and what kind of interactions are really necessary.
Yeah. Absolutely. So then, price was calculated. There's an always in between here together. And then you go to deduct credit from bundle. So on first instinct, you would say, okay, bundle, we already had this bundle. Um, but where in the beginning we were talking about, very, sort of fixed bundles that we offered to riders that they could purchase. Now we're actually talking about a very specific bundle that is owned by a specific rider. Um, so for me, this would be a different, um, bounded context again.
Okay, if I find that that's a good point, I'll rename this one to purchase bundles.
Yeah,
Purchase bundle, so that it's very explicit about what it's doing. And then maybe this could be like the bundle,
yeah,
the drivers bundle, the user bundle.
Yeah,
But it's not, yeah.
I'm gonna say rider bundle to make it
Okay.
explicit. I'm also here going to update the command. I'm not gonna use X, right? Deduct credits from bundle A. So it's like it's not a bundle anymore. It's a very specific bundle that needs to be deducted from.
Yeah. Okay. And what about this space here in between?
I think like price was calculated. I think the bundle would listen to a price was calculated, and that price calculated needs to have the ride.
So you would do like this.
No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
no.
sure. I was
Yeah.
thinking because
Yeah, but I want to
yeah,
visualize what you're thinking.
yeah. The first instinct is okay, rider bundle just actually listens to price was
Yeah.
calculated. But then I thought, yeah, okay, price was calculated, but it was calculated for a very specific ride.
Yeah.
And price was calculated, we'll know which ride it was calculated for, but it might not necessarily have the rider information, right? So it might not be able to actually link bundle A to ride X,
Mm-hmm.
for example. So maybe ride will actually be here in between again.
I also feel that like we in the sense of our previous design
Yeah,
choice, where ride is doing the orchestration, I feel like this would be a decent choice where we say, okay, it's ride that's going to being the it's still ride
yeah,
that's doing the orchestration, and the nice thing about that is that price calculation and rider bundled are then completely decoupled from each other. So as long as we keep that orchestration as part of a design choice, I think I would also go for this
yeah,
one.
yeah. Either way, you have a ride with very specific information and the price for that, and now you somehow need to translate to a rider's account, which has a bundle on it, and you need to deduct those credits from that bundle. So you need something in between that can do that translation, which at first sight, with just price was calculated and deduct credit from bundle, might not actually be visible.
No.
So it also helps to sometimes, add some sticky that sort of says, okay, what exactly, would the payload be of an event like this?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, what happens in my head because I was like, it will have a ride ID, but it doesn't have a bundle, right? So there's something missing here. We'll have a price. That might actually be enough for now. But you have that here, and then with the bundle A, is okay. So we need something to match here. We
Yeah.
can't just do that.
Just as a general remark, in my event stormings, I mostly annotate like properties with just between brackets after the event. I find it makes it a little bit easier to move these things around without losing track of the sticky. But it's the same thing. It's just a different, just showing a different style how it also works.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you can of course do the same for commands. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we we decided that. I would also like, now that we do this, I'm just as a remark, I think we need to review in general. So
Yeah.
this remark I could probably make for lots of bounded context that we drawn on here. But I'm really wondering, is price calculation like, does it like, for now the price calculation we said is literally it's the time times the rate per minute.
Yeah.
There's that's it. And so is it does that warrant a different bounded context?
Yeah.
So that is definitely something I'm like. I agree we should probably do it like this. I in my design sessions, I like it when we first design like too many and then merge them or split them in different ways. But this one feels like, hey, maybe it really doesn't need a separate bounded context. Yeah.
I think internally, Ride will do some translation as a query. Like it will try to get the rider for the ride because it needs to add the rider there. That's a good question. We say okay, deduct it from bundle A, or do we just say like the other option would be like deduct it for rider A, and then this bundle actually just deals with it.
So that's a good question because one of the things. So now I'm switching to a role of domain expert.
Mm-hmm.
A rider can have multiple bundles.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily just have one bundle. And they can buy one and they can buy another and another. So they could potentially have three.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, yeah, we could say, well, so far it's really easy. You just pick the oldest bundle and you deduct from that first. But as domain expert, I'm like, that's actually something we want to control and play around with. For example, the reason being is that well, bundles have a fixed lifetime. At
Yeah.
some point, they're not valid anymore. Just to be clear, that's a long time. It's not like 1 month; it's more like 1 year. But we also sometimes have like promotional bundles.
Yeah.
And those are going to have a shorter lifetime. Like, hey, now you can, if you buy one bundle for 20 euros, you get, yeah, 10% extra credits, but it's a bundle that has a shorter duration. So maybe we then want to first deduct the credits from the bundle with the shortest, yeah, end date. And I'm not sure yet what we'll pick. That's
Yeah.
something that we still need to explore further. But I'm wondering if it's something that would influence, yeah, our design decisions here.
Yeah. I'm writing that down, and I think yes. Right, like if there is a lot of logic on, or if you want to change that logic easily, then I would say that you will separate that into a different bounded context, and you would make other bounded context sort of yeah, not familiar with the concept.
Mhm.
So then I would actually say that deduct credits for rider A would be better, because then you don't couple a bundle, to which ride it should deduct, but you say just, deduct this credit for rider A, and then, rider bundle or rider account, not sure yet about the name, they get all that logic and they get to figure out which bundle, when, how, and all that kind of thing. And it's isolated and we can change it more easily, and nothing depends on that bundle concept. So I then would go for the second option.
Okay. Okay, I agree. What I just to make so deduct credits. I'm just wondering if it's because if it doesn't make more sense to also include like the rider or the rider ID as a property of the command instead of, and then you could, yeah, we could do the same thing as with this, but to me it feels like a bit, yeah, cleaner. The thing is, now that I made this change, if we have a rider, if we say we pass in the rider ID, we don't need to do this query. then we could actually get rid of the query, and it's up to this thing, yeah, to make sure that it's deducting everything correctly. We already know we know the rider idea, because at some point the rider starts they here we have the accept rate and start write, and there is definitely a rider ID yeah here.
Yeah.
We need to know the rider ID, otherwise we cannot continue. So I would probably do that like this. It removes our query there, and I liked what you said, and I'm thinking about it. I'm wondering if this shouldn't be called like write payment, because that's what's the responsibility. Yeah, it's about making sure the ride is getting paid by the rider, and so the fact that it's by bundles is of course important. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think what we can do here is, so we have we have rider bundle, rider account, maybe just ride payments. Let's keep all of them for now and continue with that one, and say that that's something, a name that we need to find out.
Yeah. So two things can happen then. Like, you have enough bundles and credits, or credits across bundles, to actually just pay for that full ride, which is where it ends, or you don't.
Yeah.
And then, partially was deducted, but there's still partially some credits left that need to do. And then we need to let the rider know that, hey, you need to purchase a new bundle. We need to email them or send them a notification in the app, somehow, purchase a new bundle. And I feel like this isn't part of rider bundle anymore.
Yeah,
I,
well, if it's right payment, I'm not
yeah,
sure.